coach. Yeah, it's series 3. Look where I am. I'm back in the sofa. Probably haven't seen me here in a little while. Certainly not this series, and not most of last series. The picture behind me looks like it's wonky, but it's not. This is just forced perspective because I'm recording this on an angle. I'm trying to make some recordings which are vertical so I can put them on normal mobile social media. And everyone keeps on telling me I'm not supposed to do it landscape, but I'm doing it like this so that I can double up and put this on YouTube where you, my coveted subscriber, can get to see them in full glory. So today, oh look, we've got the pictures back that my lovely wife painted or drew about 4 years ago now, 3.5 certainly. The Drinks Coach UK TV is there, the channel. My moniker is at Vinesack, or lowercase at Drinks Coach UK, all one word. Fancy picture behind me. Nice whiskies and things up there as well, which probably make an appearance before Christmas. So today, what we're doing? Well, look at this. Aren't these beautiful? I think this is so colourful. I adore these bottles. They're so in spirit of what it's all about. And it's also one of my favourite subjects. Should we put them up here for a second? Revealing that one, which we're going to talk about in a minute. These are sherries, ladies and gentlemen. I did some episodes on sherry back in series 1. I think there were episodes 18. I know there were episodes 18 and 32. The idea being that I don't have to tell you all about sherry over and over and over again. It can be quite repetitive, and I find it quite repetitive. Um, so I kind of covered it off. Although I'll probably be more talented at it now. I'll probably do a much better job, seeing as I've got the swing of things over the last 4 years. But I'm going to assume a certain amount of knowledge, and if this knowledge isn't with you, then look at episodes 18 and 32, and all will be revealed. But we talk about different styles of sherry. This is Pedro's, which is a range of sherries that used to be sold at Majestic. I don't think they did much with it. I was never shown it, never sent it. It was never made a big deal of in the store, probably because they weren't throwing loads of promotional money at it because they didn't have much. But they're these beautiful sort of Andalusian sort of Fiera or Ferra, Feria of Jerez de la Frontera, the capital of sherry in Spain. Lots of these wonderful pictures, which go back quite a long way. I haven't really actually looked at the dates on these, but they're 1951, that sort of thing. And these are sherries which are selected, have been selected by my dear friend, PJ Dotia, aka Pedro. These wines are what we call Almacenista barrels, which are barrels which have been found or stored at a large bodega and maybe been bought by and invested in by somebody who then ages those sherries and then blends them himself. So these barrels, I believe, of course I could be wrong here, if I remember, Pedro are at the wonderful, and I mean it, sherry house of Sanchez Ramate. And he has some very, very special barrels there. And these are wines which are a blend of different barrels which Pedro has curated. So I've talked about the different styles of sherry in the past. You've got very dry sherry in the form of Manzanilla or Fino, bone dry, tends to be young. They can be as young as 2 for a Manzanilla, 2 and 3 years old for a Fino, but you're not really playing to your strengths there. They need a bit longer to create some complexity and richness. So ideally, Fino sherry should be at least 4 years old. And if you get to some Tia Pepe, you're already 6 years old. And if you go to something really serious, then it could already be. You can find Finos that are almost 12 years old, I think, at the outset, at the maximum. But they don't taste that old. They have incredible freshness to them. We'll come back to that. Then the next one in the lineup, I asked my wife to line up these in order, and she was quite clever about this. So the next one put in the lineup is Palo Cortado. And for those people who don't know about Palo Cortado, it's an interesting kind of sort of side hustle of sherry, which it's not where Fino and Manzanilla turn into Amontillado, and then are subsequently tend to turn into Olorosos, given a long time. Palo Cortado is a kind of high quality sherries which are going to be Palo Cortado from the outset. They don't have floor because the alcohols tend to be very high, or the alcohol is set very high in these particularly high quality barrels, and you end up with wines which are incredibly elegant and dry and clean and don't have either the strawy smokiness of floor or the funk of Oloroso, but can be very old and incredibly um, well balanced and tidy, even though they have a lot of bottle age on them. So we put the Palo Cortado second in this lineup because it's actually dry. Then the Oloroso, which is your funky, meaty. Oh God, I really wish I had a pile of meatballs in tomato sauce. Oloroso, and at the end here we've got a wine which does actually say a Mathanista selection, a blend of Amontillado medium dry, which says a blend of Amontillados, which would be here normally, but it is sweet. There's been some cream sherry added to this, some PX. So it's more popular. It's more in the old sort of post Second World War. Oh, would you like a glass of sherry, Sheila? Yes, I'd be delighted. That kind of sherry from the mid 60s, 70s, where we were expecting our sherries to be a little bit sweet, if not full cream. And this wine is really quite special because there's some very old stuff in it. So, despite the fact it's a medium sherry and not a dry sherry, which will put off some kind of real aficionados and snobs in the sherry industry, this wine is lovely and also has all sorts of wonderfully exciting food applications, I think. Anyway, so we've got these 4 bottles in the Pedro's lineup. Aren't they gorgeous? They were sold at Majestic. Majestic did nothing with them. So now at Waitrose, and I don't think there is a single lineup of sherry in the world at this price which offers this value. Okay, we have. I think they're all. Should check these things, shouldn't I? Really, I think they're all 13.99 a bottle. That's for a whole bottle. So a lot of sherry is sold in half bottles. So call it £7 a half or something. Um, that's pretty amazing value for money. Um, Especially when you think about the amount of alcohol in these wines as well, because when you get to aged Palo Cortado and Rosso, these wines are 20% alcohol. The last one I think is 19. Yeah, the first one, is 15%. But strangely, the alcohol level goes up over time. It's a complicated scientific thing, but it just does. Okay, so let's quickly try these wines. I didn't want this to be a long one. I just wanted people to be aware of this amazing range of sherries. You don't need to look any further. If you're looking for sherries with training wheels, or you want to do a tasting with your mates to discover what sherry tastes like, and you want to know which style of sherry you like, then just buy these 4. That's what I did. Um, Emma, who likes sherry, my dear wife, allowed me to go into Waitrose down the road, and I bought these with my own social security. Right, I'm going to start with the first one. Got some colour to it, despite the fact it's Fino. I think this makes a wonderful fin. I think Sanchez Martin has great finos. Whether that's completely where it's from or not, PJ, I'm not sure. But this wine has a glorious um, nose tingling smell of flor, of the yeast culture that grows on dry sherry when it's young. It has this lovely warm, warm straw and saffron smell. It's almost silage in a nice way. It's kind of funky, very umami. Quick taste. So well balanced. I mean, it's dry, right? But it's just the alcohol balances it out because there's alcohol sweetness here to be had with a big jar or tin of olives, like I did the other day, or virtually anything. But fantastic with tomatoes, tomato salad, those sort of things. Fantastic. This particular one because there's some age on it. In a Bloody Mary, in fact. Anyway, so moving on to the Palo Cortado, you can see there's a bit more colour here. Not a great deal, yeah, well, there's quite a lot more. And actually, when you smell it, there's a real sense of sort of salted caramel and peanuts, and it has the colour of toasted peanuts and salted caramel. Got a lovely creamy nose. Almost a smell of creme catalana, like creme, what do you call it? Creme caramel. So poached, set custard with a lovely salty, creamy caramel edge in the mouth. Starts off with this kind of, you let into this sweetness, into the caramel, into the Maillard reaction that's happened in this wine over many, many, many years. But then it sort of pulls up and it's dry and savoury. I think that's rather delicious. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they're both the same price, but you could argue you're getting far more value in the second wine, and you're certainly getting 5% more alcohol. But actually, they're both just stunning for the money. Okay, moving on. Oloroso, Spanish for odorous, not a very pretty title. Um, but this is with the Jerezanos, the people that actually live in Jerez. This would be the most popular kind of sherry, a bone dry Oloroso, lots of flavour, goes very well with the food, with pork, with spicy dishes, with fermented fish dishes, maybe even with a bit of squid or Catalan stew. I love this particularly, as I mentioned already, with meatballs made with veal and pork cooked in maybe a concentrated pepper, red pepper and tomato stew, and maybe some salted anchovies in it. Lovely. It's not as long as the pelo cortado, but it has this. It's a flavour bomb of extraordinary size. It's I think the Japanese call it kokumi, which is above umami. It's kind of like it's a food grenade, and it would probably go very very well with all sorts of Japanese food. It certainly tastes like an aged sherry does, a koshu sherry, or almost a mushroom consomme, like a stock, and is fantastic in food. Okay, last one. See, this is distinctly sweeter, but it's got so much acidity. It's so fresh. It doesn't taste that sweet, but I can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be about 50 or 60 grams of sugar plus in here. But it doesn't taste it. Still has amazing brightness and balance and freshness and life. And but the fact that it's 19% alcohol would indicate that it's got some age too. Mm. Very easy to drink, more sweet and sour. So it would go with certainly with things like dried apricots, dried figs, dates, that sort of thing. With a cheese board, be fantastic with blue cheese. I can't stop thinking of great things that would go with. But there you go. That's your line of Pedro's four wines. Why have I recommended these? A, because PJ is one of the nicest people in the wine trade. Amazing guy. Studied law in Boston. Came with his father, Peter Docia Senior. Set up Ermans. He's now very much involved or responsible for the fortified arm of that company. But he also very kindly let me use this sherry in the food festivals I did this summer. He also let me use this. Seeing there's no Manthania here, let's mention it. Manthania Alegria from Williams and Humbert. That's their other agency that Ermans looks after, and is a terrific, amazing value wine. Same alcohol strength as the Fino. I think it's around £8, I think, for a half bottle. But frankly, this is the better drink. This is a far more complex and interesting wine. But this is classic, lovely, chamomile soft melon, saline Manthania. Um, Read up about sherry, you'll understand what I mean. Okay, so there's that, the Alegria. He also let us use this summer at the food festivals. Yeah, darkest red, Iron Maiden's own red. I'm serious. Yeah, that's a picture of Eddie on the front, looking pretty serious. Amazing artwork. And this is from the Douro, so it's not a million miles away. The Douro Valley is where fortified wines come from in Portugal. And this wine was made at by the Vanzella family. And I just wanted to say thank you very much again to Ermans for letting me show the sherries, because obviously it was Iron Maiden that pretty much put up the money and the sponsorship for the whole thing. So thank you very much. Now, thank you, PJ, and anyone out there who likes sherry, just go to Waitrose and buy these, no questions asked. But just in the spirit of keeping things fair, the other company, if I was not buying sherry from Ermans, I'd be buying it from John E. Fells in Berkhamsted. And a company which I think has always made fantastic sherry, Amantha, is Barbadillo. And I don't know, they've just gone from strength to strength to strength over the last 15, 20 years. Since I visited in 2008, it's amazing how far they've gone. This is a brand new bottle of the Manzanilla Passada, which means it's aged Manzanilla, guessing 10 years old, maybe. So the 8 to 10. And this wine is En Rama, which means on the branch, fresh, unpasteurized, taken straight from the barrel and bottled. So there's a certain degree of delicacy hidden behind this wine. This wine has amazing texture and authenticity and alive, vibrant flavors, but it's not one you're supposed to keep. Um, the reason why I'm showing you this is Manzanilla Passada en Rama de la Pastora. It's got the most beautiful bottle. Normally you can buy this for about 11 or 12 pounds, or maybe 13 or 14 if you're an independent, for a half bottle. Or you can buy this from Ocado for 22 quid, which is pretty stunning. Thank you, Annie Lim, for sending this to me, and thanks, Johnny Fells, for supplying it. Um, Barbadia Pastora, Ocado, Carrington Wines, another great company. There we go. The wine press, hedonism, it's around. But what I want to tell you is that it's not come as a surprise to people that I'm recommending this wine, because I have on occasion said that I think this is the best wine, pound for pound, in the world. That's fighting talk, isn't it? Because there's a wine in its own right. If you're going to score it, this wine is a comfortable high 90s scorer year in, year out. Wonderful colour if you look at it. Compared to the Fino, very, very similar in colour. So it shows A, how much age the Pedro's Fino has, but B, how clean and delightful this wine is. Wow. It smells like somebody's hit a very large granite rock with a hammer and all this dried fruit's fallen out. I know it sounds weird, but it's like dried apricots and gunflint and smoke and wet stones, pebbles in a brook. This is the latest Enrama. It's the 2024 bottling, so I know it's nice and fresh. It comes in this gorgeous bottle. I cannot wait to finish drinking this. Um, oh, by the way, yeah, glassware. You're probably wondering what the hell's he doing? Yeah, I couldn't find my. We're doing a lot of moving around the flat. I couldn't find my copitas, my sherry glasses, so I've been using whiskey glasses, which look damn similar. This is a Glencairn whiskey glass. It's perfectly adequate, not perfectly adequate, extremely good for drinking sherry and fortifieds out of, as well as whiskey. Remember, there's fortification in these drinks, so that's not a surprise. This is also from the Lakes Malt Whiskey Distillery, but is basically a copita. So that nose, oh wow, stones and minerals. There's almost an ozone smell, like there's just had a blast of lightning nearby. Wow, 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 wow. Now this is arrestingly dry, like dry, pulls the hair out of your neck dry. It's floral. Manzanilla means chamomile, and this wine tastes of dried chamomile. You can taste it. Um, Apple blossom, flowers, potpourri. But then there's slices of fresh pear and apple in there too. And then there's this just like a kiss of an echo of old wine, of old, again, Maillard caramelization of toast, almost slightly burnt sourdough. What a wine! And this with anchovies or pan con tomate or with just about anything, it would be an absolute joy. So 14 quid for these, £22 for that. I think it's about 13 quid for Iron Maiden, and it's a wee 7 or 8 quid for your Anthony Allegria from Williams and Humbert. There you are. That's Sherry in a nutshell. Hey, in a nutshell. Um,